Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, as you all know, that unfortunately terrorism is in surge in Pakistan. According to ISPR, overall 57,320 intelligence-based operations conducted so far in 2025 across Pakistan. Out of them, 1,422 terrorists killed overall. 3,984 terrorist incidents happened, unfortunately, across Pakistan in different provinces. But unfortunately, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is the province which is most affected, along with Balochistan. 946 brave officers, soldiers, policemen, law enforcement agencies, personnel, and civilians laid down their life during protection of Pakistan's soil. From 2021 to now, in 2021, there were at least 345 terrorist incidents, but those surged in 2025 to an unprecedented level, and now we have faced at least 2,809 terrorist incidents in which 917 terrorists killed. This is the data which was provided by ISPR, and it was depicted during the Director General Inter-Services Public Relations Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif's important press conference that was held on 10th of October 2025, in which he has elaborated that why the terrorism is in surge in Pakistan, and he explained overall that the National Action Plan that was revised in 2021, unfortunately 14 of its points were never addressed in letter and spirit. Along with that, the political crime and terrorist nexus that is in surge, and that's why terrorist organizations are taking advantage of it. The cross-border terrorism is in surge because of the safe havens in Afghanistan, and Afghan Interim Authority unfortunately never reacted, never took action against all those terrorist entities, which are more than a dozen in Afghanistan on Afghanistan soil, but unfortunately no action taken against them. And this is the unprecedented situation because of which Pakistan's two important provinces, Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, are actually suffering hard. And that was the crux. That's why the reason that Director General Inter-Services Public Relations, ISPR, Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif, held a press conference in Peshawar. That was an unprecedented situation, and that's why that conference. And now it is important that all political parties must join hands, as we had done in 2014 after the unfortunate incident of Army Public School, and we have that National Action Plan. If that National Action Plan would be implemented in true letter and spirit, we can get out of this menace of terrorism. Although our security forces, army, police, law enforcement agencies, and our civilians are actually the iron shield against these terrorist organizations and laying down their lives, it is important that we have, as a nation, we must have to act as a nation, must have to be united against this surge. And the second topic, that is related to the Afghan Interim Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi's India visit, and that is the first ever visit and the 6-day visit, and he met with the Indian Foreign Minister Subramaniam J. Shankar, and from the Indian soil, Afghan Interim Minister has made some statements which are unpleasant, and no doubt that after the Moscow format, what's the urge to have this visit, and whether the bone homie, and particularly when Afghan Interim Foreign Minister says India, call India a close friend, what it means, and we'll go into the details. And also our third topic, that is related to the US recent September 30th, 2025, US administration has actually included Pakistan into allied countries list for the provision of advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, and India started a negative propaganda against it, and we'll also talk about that. Although the US Embassy in Delhi has issued a press release in which they have clarified the situation, but Indian media is still propagating it negatively, and obviously they have to do because the animosity within India, although Pakistan always call upon to have dialogue, as the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also offered that dialogue thing in the UNGA session recently held in New York, but unfortunately there is no positive sign from our eastern neighbor. This is unfortunate, really. So first of all, our topic is the surge in terrorism and what the DGISPR actually said. So we have in our studios our guest, Mr. Abdullah Khan. He is the Managing Director of Pakistan Institute of Conflict and Security Studies. Thank you very much, Abdullah Khan sir, for your presence here in the studios. And most probably joining us online, Dr. WASEEM Ishaq. He is the International Affairs Analyst. Most welcome to you, Dr. WASEEM. Thank you very much for your presence online as well. My first question to you, Abdullah Khan sir, how do you see this unfortunate surge in terrorism in Pakistan, as our security forces conducting at least 40 operations a day, intelligence-based operations. At least 917 terrorists have been killed so far. This is the data till September 2025. So along with that, it is astonishing that at least 161 terrorists were Afghans. At least 135 crossed Pakistan-Afghanistan border to attack Pakistani security forces and villages. And around 30 or over 30 were the suicide bombers. And this number is actually increasing. How do you see it?
Thank you very much for having me in your show. Actually, the number of terrorists killed by Pakistani security forces is around 1,400, not 900. It is much bigger, and this is the deadliest year for the terrorists as well. So on the one hand, yes, our civilians and security forces are laying down their lives, but at the same time, the resilience of our security forces is shown that this was also the deadliest year for the terrorists. So this is one thing positive we should acknowledge, the sacrifices of our security forces. Actually, it all is related to what is happening in Afghanistan. The interim Afghan government, which now said last month that we are no more interim, we are full-fledged government. They, for the sake of their local legitimacy, because when they came into power, they were alleged that they are backed by Pakistan. So just for the sake of local legitimacy, they opted to act against Pakistan to support TTP, Hafiz Gul Bahadur group and other groups. And that is the reason that we are facing this wave of terrorism. This was going down, and we were hopeful in 2020 that the terrorism was at the level of 2003 or 4, and we were hoping that it will end. But when the Afghan Taliban came into power, we saw that they started to back TTP, provided them safe havens, safe houses. Their senior leadership, they lives in Kabul, Mazar-e-Sharif, Herat, different positions, and officially backed by the GDI. And that is the reason that we are facing this menace of terrorism. And that is so unfortunate that Afghan Taliban, they are not realizing that they have made a commitment at international level that they will not let Afghan soil to be used against American allies. We are non-NATO allies, and that class actually fits us as well. Apart from that, Afghan foreign minister here in Islamabad in 2023 committed that Afghan soil will not be used against Pakistan. At multiple occasions, they committed that Afghan soil will not be used against Pakistan. But unfortunately, we have seen on ground that not only the TTP, but we have seen that Afghan citizens, as you have highlighted, the 161 were the Afghans. This new phenomena, Afghan Taliban could not control. Perhaps some within from Afghan Taliban, they even supported it. And that is the result, this is facade. This is not a jihad at all.
It is, no doubt
this
about it.
This facade which they are committing is actually something they are committing against themselves. This shot in the foot. Pakistan was the only country which actually wanted a peace in Afghanistan, and we supported their new government. We held a conference in Islamabad in March 2022, if you recall, OIC summit was here, and we actually went all around the globe for their support that international community should engage with them. What they did
but unfortunately, Afghan interim authority not realizing what Pakistan is doing for them.
Yes, Pakistan, because Pakistan was hoping that peace is coming in Afghanistan, that there should be stability and there should be long-term stability. You know, we should understand the dynamics of Afghanistan. Governments in Afghanistan disappear in days, not, you know, in years. Suddenly you have seen that Ashraf Ghani was president, and suddenly we have seen that he was packing and going. So what Pakistan wanted was that there should be a long-term stability in Afghanistan, and we hope that Taliban were capable of doing that. But unfortunately, they found something else to do, which is not actually helping them. You know, we will discuss, as you said, the interim Afghan foreign minister's visit to India. But banning women education, you know, strangulating their economy, their youth, and everything, and there is a ticking bomb in Afghanistan, and at the same time they are taking a big panga with their neighbors as well. That this is not going to help them. As I have said multiple times in your show, that we the Pakistanis and the Pakistani state has a very strong shock absorber. We will sail through from this situation eventually.
Inshallah.
But do you think that they will be able? No.
It would, yeah, definitely. Dr. Waseem, why politics is unfortunately above the state? The National Action Plan was not actually fully implemented. The 14 points of revised National Action Plan still to get the final note. Counter-terrorism cases unfortunately not decided, particularly in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and DG ISPR during his press conference, he elaborated these things very brilliantly. The political crime and terror nexus, that is actually still exists, and that is supporting terrorism or fueling terrorism. So DG ISPR clearly stated during his press conference that no room for the status quo now. Everyone must have to act. This is very important. This is very unprecedented situation. Whole of the nation has to act unitedly. How do you respond to it?
Faisal, thank you very much for the invitation. And this is a very significant topic which we are discussing today, because it involves the national security of the entire nation state of Pakistan. Coming directly towards your question, but just see the environments when the National Action Plan 1 was enforced, that the entire nation as an entire government, as a whole of nation and a whole of government approach was adopted. And all the political parties were at one page. The entire nation supported the armed forces actions, and we really eliminated the menace of terrorism from Pakistan. But what we have seen, the environments shaping up, especially from 2018 onwards until today, that one, that we have a political polarization atmosphere inside Pakistan. We also have a security vacuum, which has really created a lot of space for these terrorist groups. And thirdly, it has cross-border nexus with the interim Afghan government. So these things actually created a lot of space for those terrorist actions which have increased over the last 1.5 years. The National Action Plan 2, I had suggested through your program several times, but unfortunately, because of the political polarization, that could not be put in place. And also the grand national dialogue on how to handle terrorism, this also I suggested through your program, but unfortunately we could not see that happening. And the environments of different politico-religious parties trying to cash on and trying to create further polarization on one pretext or the other is still going on. So therefore it is about time, as the DGISPR said, in a very and absolutely no uncertain terms, that now the status quo is not possible. So what is going to happen, or what should happen? Through your program, I would like to suggest that we need to have one political dialogue across the board, where everybody should be taken on board to create a political harmony to defeat this terrorism. And that way, we need to actually unite the entire nation and follow the whole of government approach and whole of nation approach. And let's put National Action Plan number 2 in action, because that's about time. We have already lost a lot of time, and now we have to, because the environments have been shaped in such a way that now that Afghanistan and the Taliban government have now reached out to India, and we have always been worried about this Indo-Afghan nexus, and that has now become reality. So it's about time that we have to join hands together and
Afghan
support the
Interim
security
Authority
forces.
is not ready to cooperate with Pakistan. The terror bases in Afghanistan are really problematic and pose serious threat to Pakistan's national security. More than 24 of the terrorist organizations still existing in Afghanistan, including lots of there. China has lots of apprehensions on that. Central Asian republics are time and again raising these questions about Afghanistan. Pakistan is asking Afghan Interim Authority. And now the Moscow format that was recently held in Moscow suggested to act against all those terrorist entities who took refuge in Afghanistan. Do you think that there would be any sort of a regional mechanism is going to be evolved at the through the Moscow format or at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, because they have the regional anti-terror mechanism as well, the RATS. So do you think that, do you foresee something like that?
Yes, sure. I am still optimistic because China at the bilateral level and Russia at the bilateral level and also through multilateral forums and quadrilateral and trilateral forums, they have tried to engage Afghan Taliban ever since they came into power. And recently this Moscow format, and before that we had a Kazan format. So on all these occasions, both Russia and China in individual capacities as well as together, they have tried to convince the Afghan Taliban that it is about time that they have to act. And I think this terrorism is not only affecting Pakistan, it's affecting the entire region. And that terrorism has been actually creating problems for the whole of Central Asia, for Russia, for China. So therefore, everybody is worried and they don't want to repeat of the 90s type of scenario. So therefore, they all are cautious and they have conveyed at their respective forums. Now, what is missing link in this one, which I feel is that as the India-Afghan nexus has already started to be appearing and shaping up, probably now in that case, we need to break out that prisoner's dilemma, which we have been unfortunately since long, despite our best possible efforts. And if it is not possible at the bilateral level, we must engage through China and Russia and engage with Afghan interim government, because that's for the time being is the only representative government. And we need to convince them and we need to mobilize all the diplomatic forums. And as Pakistan's stature and Pakistan's diplomacy has Pakistan's diplomatic stature has been raised, and a lot of space has also been given by the United States. So therefore, I think Pakistan is now in a better position to handle this issue diplomatically, because terrorism is not only affecting Pakistan, it's a global phenomena. And I'm sure all the great power will also join hands with us in defeating this menace of terrorism.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Dr. Waseem, for your presence online. Abdullah Khan sahab, during DG ISPR's briefing, a question raised by a journalist regarding the cross-border strikes. Lieutenant General Ahmad Sharif responded loudly and said, Pakistan will take all necessary measures to protect its people and borders, while Afghan facilitation will face iron hand response. How do you see it?
You know, this was coming because, you know, what happened in Orakzai, you have seen. What happened yesterday in police training center, or it was today, I think.
In Dera
Ismail Khan,
yes.
And what is happening on the daily basis, for how long we will keep, you know, receiving the coffins of our soldiers, our security personnel, our civilians. So this is something which was coming and which was supposed to be done. And you have seen the Afghan interim government was very tight-lipped. Initially, they said nothing happened. Even Muttaqi
initially they were tight-lipped.
Yeah, even Muttaqi was saying in India that this was an explosion in Kabul. We are just investigating it. But you know, at the end of the day, it was Mullah Yaqub who actually spilled the beans, and he said that there was a strike and he condemned Pakistan. But I think the justice would be that they should condemn TTP, which is doing this.
Yes.
And the training, the camp, the claim of
actual criminals and terrorists who took refuge over there, and they are launching cross-border attacks in Pakistan.
You know, which group claimed responsibility of the police training camp? A new group emerged, the Defenders of Amarat Islamia Afghanistan. What is this? You know, it means that you are claiming responsibility of an attack on Pakistani police training camp in Pakistan. And this is not on. In Pakistan, you know, I said that what you are doing, you are betraying Pakistan. What we have done for you and what are you doing?
If Afghan nationals are involved in terrorist activities in Pakistan, if they are the suicide bombers, it means that the Afghan Interim Authority don't have any sort of authority or to have any sort of writ to challenge or to control all those Afghan citizens to be in those entities?
I had this impression for a long period of time that this issue of authority, but now I have realized this is an issue of policy, not authority. Afghan GDI, the way it's Al-Mirsad.
They are doing it by conviction.
By conviction. The Al-Mirsad, they have launched a propaganda tool against Pakistan, Al-Mirsad, which links Pakistan with Daesh, while Daesh is sitting in Afghanistan and Daesh was born in Afghanistan, but what they are doing, Afghan GDI is officially, tacitly, covertly supporting Al-Mirsad and propaganda against Pakistan. And now we have seen during past 1 month, I have noticed that you will see hundreds of accounts which are basically operated from Delhi, but they you know, impersonate themselves as the supporter of Afghan Amarat Islamiyah. You will see then the caps and Afghan turbans like that, but they are basically Indian raw, which is involved in disinformation against Pakistan, to sowing seed of hate between Afghans and Pakistan. We have nothing, we have no problem with Afghan people. We have hosted them for 5 decades, and we are still hosting them, and Pakistan is still well-wisher of Afghanistan.
Definitely.
But what India is doing, they are fomenting hate among Afghans.
Definitely, we have our next topic that is related to India, and the Afghan interim foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi has visited India and met with his counterpart Subramaniam J. Shankar. They have a long statement as well, joint presser as well, and he also having the meetings with the business community in India as well. But the vibes which are straight away coming from India are not, unfortunately, are not good. Because region needs peace, and India is the peace spoiler, and this is going to be unprecedented. So my question, Abdullah Khan Sahab, what you perceive out of this Afghan interim foreign minister's India visit, the 6-day visit and the first ever visit of India?
You know, honestly speaking, if it had happened 2 years ago, Pakistan would definitely welcome, because Pakistan's desire is that India should not play a spoiler's role, and but it always played a spoiler role. But we wanted that the Afghan Taliban should engage India, so that India should not act against them like it did in the past. India always supported anti-Taliban forces in Afghanistan. This is the history, you know, from 1996 till today. India always opposed the Afghan Taliban, and always sided with the opposition of Taliban. Even recently, Taliban government expelled an Indian diplomat who was in contact with NRF, the opposition. So it is something which is very strange now. You know, Muttaqi was supposed to come here in Pakistan in August, but at that time UN Security Council did not lift the sanctions. But while they supported, now facilitated his travel to India. So
actually, he is under the UNSC sanction list.
Yes.
But that committee which is already formed regarding the, which actually give go ahead to any Afghan minister, they are under that watch list.
Yes.
So they time and again, case to case basis, they give green light
but
to
when
visit.
he was supposed to come to Pakistan, they did not lift the sanction. But he was supposed to go to India, they lifted it.
That
So
might be because of the US apprehensions.
Maybe,
because that committee works unanimously on unanimous decision. So that was the reason might be.
Whatever the reason, you know, basically Afghanistan is an independent country. We don't have any problem if Taliban have any relation with anyone.
And it is unprecedented that he, soon after the Moscow format, in which it was decided, and Afghan interim authority agreed upon that these terrorist entities must have to be eliminated from Afghan soil. And now he is in India, and India and Afghanistan are actually talking about to eliminate terrorism from the region. The two countries which are actually supporting terrorism, India at the state level and in Afghan interim authority at all levels. So how do you see such an amusing thing? This is surprising on behalf of India particularly.
You know, it is very interesting. India is now trying to exploit the situation which Pakistan and Afghanistan currently have a bitter relation because of the terrorism. So India is trying to exploit that situation. But to be honest, some statements which were very distasteful for Indians came from the mouth of Muttaqi. He said that we still want very good relations with Pakistan, and Pakistan is our brother country. Perhaps Delhi wanted not to listen these kind of things. So this also came during his presser when he met with
one important question, Abdullah Khan sahab, what it means when Afghan interim foreign minister Muttaqi says call India a close friend. What it means?
It is strange how India have become very close to, it is hypocrisy. These statements, this visit, all is based on hypocrisy. How? India is now ruled by Hindutva, the Hindu extremists. They always call bad names to Afghans because
always.
They said that
Yes.
they are the invaders and all these, and Abdali, and so many movies they have made. So suddenly they found that Afghans are their friends. They were never friends. They always think about Afghans as invaders. So how come that? And similarly, the Afghan Taliban, they always were against India because India always supported their enemies. So it is a marriage of convenience as well as hypocrisy is the base. So that's the reason that I see it will not take a long time. This hunky-dory between both will not last long, I feel, because there is no solid base between them.
Definitely. India was the one country who left Afghans alone when it was the US forces withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. That was the one country who was continuously the factor of destabilizing Afghanistan.
20
and
years.
that was the country whose intelligence agency was working all along the regional countries, against the regional countries, against Pakistan as well. And those were the one who have spilled the beans of terrorism over there.
Yeah.
No doubt about that, really. Viewers, we have Mr. Usman HAIDER with us. He is having lots of experience when we are talking about the Indian defense affairs and intelligence affairs. So most welcome to you, Usman. Thank you very much for joining us. Usman is not, Usman will be connected shortly with us. So Abdullah Khan sahab, when we are talking about this visit with India exporting Afghan exploiting Afghan territory for intelligence and subversive operations. Now armed it full diplomatic presence in Kabul. They have already announced that. Now Afghan Taliban having the new corridors of cooperation with New Delhi and having the diplomatic presence in New Delhi as well. Although they are, India is not directly recognizing the Taliban government. But do you think that this is going to be unprecedented? Because earlier there were lots of surge, the diplomatic surge India has, and under the garb of diplomacy, RAW was operating freely across Afghanistan, particularly in bordering region with Pakistan. And they were recruiting, they were arming, they were financing, they were facilitating, abetting, and even helping in training of those terrorist organizations.
Apart from this short-term romance between Taliban and India, still there is a deep mistrust between the both. India is also not going to trust Taliban very soon. India still have a lot of reservations about Taliban's past linkages with Pakistan, or their stay in Pakistan, a lot of things. So I think a lot of time India will take to restore its intelligence network and terror network in Afghanistan, which was totally shattered in 2021. And now India is in a rebuilding phase in Afghanistan, and perhaps it will take a lot of time to rebuild that situation. I think
definitely. Coming back to you, Abdullah Khan sahab, we have Mr. Usman HAIDER. He has a very close eye on the Indian defense and intelligence affairs. Most welcome to you, Usman. Thank you very much for joining us. Just recently, on 30th of September 2025, United States has included Pakistan in its list of contract awarded to a US company for supplying advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, namely AIM-120, C-8 and D-3 to Pakistan. Why is India actually spreading disinformation to malign legitimate US support to Pakistan?
Assalamu alaikum. Faisal sir, am I audible to you?
Yeah, definitely. Please go ahead.
Okay. Faisal sir, It's go back to May 7, 2025, when Pakistan Air Force shot down Indian aircraft, 7 of them to be precise, using PL-15. But back then, we don't have these advanced missile range missiles from the US. But now, as you have mentioned, that on 30th of September 2025, US awarded a new contract. Basically, this also include $41 million to be precise, for the sale of C-8. Obviously, C-8 is the export version of the advanced medium-range AMRAAM missile to Pakistan. Why India and Indian media is basically making a noise of it? Because they are afraid of it. Because as we have seen, witnessed in the past conflict with PL-15, Pakistan successfully shot down Indian aircraft. But once these missiles came to Pakistan, the newer version of C-8, that will also beef up the capabilities of Pakistan F-16 fleet as well. So you say at one side F-16s carrying AMRAAM, C-8, D3 versions, and with them we have JF-17s and J-10s armed with PL-15 extended range missiles. So this basically will be a very good package, which obviously the Indian media and Indian Air Force is afraid of. That's why they are making so much noise about it. Even if you go and look at the contract, this is a one US foreign military sales website, which basically state about the contract. And it is not the one website. If you go, there is a specific number of the contract. If you go to that website, it also mentioned that it is about the C8 version, the newer version of the Measures D3 variant. And there is another website that which I recently checked few hours ago, that has mentioned specifically that the contract has been awarded for the Lot 37, Lot 37 to Lot 39. And Lot 37 to Lot 39 is about the manufacturing of C8D3 variants of AMRAAM medium range missiles. So I don't know why they are why they are
In
making
Arizona,
noise about
and
it.
they are working on that. But why India actually is too much afraid of regarding the defense aspects for Pakistan? Why they consider every time Pakistan's defense enhancement as a threat to New Delhi, while itself actually procuring piles of arms from the different countries, namely the United States itself, France, Israel, Russia, and recently they have gone into the contract with the United Kingdom, having US dollar $468 million contract with Britain for the lightweight multi-role missiles, and that too without any sort of a restraint. So why they are having too much noisy about Pakistan?
Professor Sab, you are absolutely right. They acquired the missiles and the weapon system at bulk in large quantities. On the contrary, Pakistan only has limited number of the platforms, whether it's aircraft or warships, and even in the case of the air-to-air missiles. But here is the thing: you know, said we shot down Rafales as well in the last conflict with India. Rafales are very advanced aircraft, and even the ABM Aurangzeb have said that the aircraft was good, but the persons who are piloting the aircraft was not basically capable of making a good role. So what we are seeing here is that India is afraid of these missile deal. It's not only about the missile capability itself, but it's about the professionalism, the capability of Pakistani pilots as well. So India is afraid because the Pakistan Air Force pilots, as well as you can see in terms of the Pakistan naval submariners or the surface, the persons who are basically working on the ships as well as the Pakistani troops and the officers, their professionalism, their combat experience, their training is much better than the Indians. This is why the Indians are afraid of, because once you have a better training, once you have a better troops, better pilots, better soldier, and if you get the advanced weapon system, like we earlier has PL-15 and now the AMRAAM D8 C8 version and D3 C8 version, so it will obviously enhance the capabilities of Pakistan. Although we are acquiring in a very less number as compared to the Indians, you have mentioned of the latest deal with the UK as well, and the French and the Russians and etc. But it's all about the professionalism of Pakistan, especially the Pakistan Air Force. Here we're talking about, as we are talking about the air-to-air missile deal of Pakistan with the US, which will arrive in next months or a year or two. So India is afraid that with that Pakistan Air Force capability will enhance. So that's the reason, sir.
Do you think, Usman, very short, do you think that this is a deception strategy by India right now to shift attention of its own procurements, the massive arm imports that are there, and They don't want that anybody is going to comment Indian piles of arms, rather just having pointing fingers on others, particularly Pakistan.
Yes, you are absolutely right. It's always about a deception strategy. Even when we acquire like one Squadron 13 F-16 from the Jordan, which was a air defense variant, even that time India says now the balance has been changed in the region. US has supplied the most advanced version of F-16. We all know there was only 13 of F-16 which we acquired from Jordan in 2013, 2014, and that did not change the balance in the region. But that's the habitual, that's the strategy of Indian every time. Whenever Pakistan is about to acquire something from US or China, even that in a very small quantity, Indian media start making noise. And this time, why they start making noise? It's additional as well. They also basically try to avoid the failures of their air force and their military in Banyan in 2025 May conflict. And secondly, once very shortly after 2025 conflict, Pakistan, which when Indian military faced humiliation, they ordered a lot of weapons. They are now in talking with the Russians with more S-400 weapon systems. They have also been Indian Force is talking with France for more than 110 Rafale aircrafts as well. And they are also in talks with the Russia for the beyond visual range R-37 air-to-air missiles as well in a bulk quantity. These are just the tip of the iceberg. There are other deals that which obviously they recently signed with the UK as well, and a lot. So
Procure.
they are
They don't have the guts to employ these technologies when it comes to the war scenario or any sort of technical thing. Your point well taken. Abdullah Khan sir, very short comment. How do you see this whole surge in Indian media against Pakistan, this going on each and every aspect? How media, Pakistani media has to recalibrate itself to respond the Indian propaganda which is going on, and which is always based upon the fake news, based upon any sort of misinformation, and spreading all sorts of propaganda which is nowhere, but that is there on the Indian screens and in Indian newspapers.
There is one good thing for Pakistan about Pakistani media, that it is not rhetorical and it is not screaming on the screens. But on the other side is that we are not giving much time to Pakistan's foreign successes and stories.
Definitely.
That should
yes,
be balanced.
This is the point. Very, very important. No doubt about that. Thank you very much, Usman, for your presence online. Thank you very much for sparing time and very candid views. Thank you very much, sir, Abdullah Khan sir, for your presence in the studios and very elaborative views. Viewers, as you have just listened to our panelists, this is all from today's Foresight. It is important that we have to go through the national narratives, and we have to go through the national integrity and have a unity when it comes to counter this menace of terrorism. Along with that, we have to counter this propaganda which is straight away coming from in eastern neighbor, and the false and fake, fabricated, fictitious news stories. We are countering it from the Pakistan TV network. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching this show. Thank you very much. This is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.